Tell Mike Tyson that because he does not give a shit what anyone thinks. He's his own boss. He wants to fight me. He told my team, like, I don't give a shit about this. Like, tell Jake I'm still gonna rip his head off.
Let's do it, Jakey.
Do you really think that you're gonna beat Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Different date, same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul.
What happened?
There's no way he'd get demolished. But for what he's doing, as long as they keep getting YouTubers and keep putting them in there with MMA guys, that's kind of over the hill, he's gonna continue to shine.
What happened? Hey, let's talk about that too. Brother-in-law said, hey Mike, man, I know you're not gonna win, but somebody said, would you fight this guy for like 40 million or 30 million?
You rip into the body and throwing those hooks. I was like, this is a man who's preparing to go to combat.
That was 30 seconds.
Have you seen the latest drama involving Joe Rogan, Mike Tyson, and Jake Paul? It's been all over social media and sports news. Rumor has it that Jake Paul, the YouTube sensation turned boxer, got knocked out in a sparring session, and Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson didn't hold back their thoughts. The internet is buzzing with their reactions, and we've got all the details right here. In a recent turn of events, Jake Paul, the YouTube star turned boxer, found himself at the center of a social media storm. During a sparring session, Jake experienced a shocking knockout, and the reactions from Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson were nothing short of explosive. Let's dive into the details of this dramatic incident. Jake responded to the criticism with a bold and poetic post on social media. 1 mic, 2 mics, 3 mics, 4. The fact is every opponent has touched the floor 5 months until Tyson and I go to war. So in the meantime, me and Perry are going to make Tampa roar. I fear no man. Anytime, anywhere, any place on July 20th, it's going to be another W. So let us say grace for the BKFC champ. Who will take a knee? Then we will go to Ireland and take McGregor's equity. This post shows Jake's confidence and his continued bravado, but also his acknowledgement of the challenge that lies ahead. He's setting up not just one fight, but planning future conquests, including Conor McGregor. It's a bold statement, and whether it's realistic or not, it's certainly keeping the boxing world talking.
Tell Mike Tyson that. He does not give a shit what anyone thinks. He's his own boss. He wants to fight me. He told my team, like, I don't give a shit about this. Like, tell Jake I'm still going to rip his head off and knock him the fuck out. And that this just bought him more time. So tell Mike Tyson not to fight and to chill and see how that goes.
Jake's response to that, hey, look, he's right. I can't stand here and say I did those things. But what I promise to the people is on July 20th, Mike will be put to sleep and he will feel my power. And I will go down as the man who put Tyson to sleep for the last time. It all started with a heated conversation between Jake Paul and his brother, Logan Paul. Under the scrutiny of a lie detector, Jake made some surprising admissions about his upcoming fight with the legendary Mike Tyson.
Are you on PEDs? Do you think I would beat KSI in a fight?
Yeah, it looked like an old
I think Mike wants this more than anyone, and if he wants it, then I'm down.
Have you ever rigged any of your fights?
Bro, get a job.
When Logan asked if Jake truly believed he could beat Tyson, Jake confidently said yes. This bold claim set the stage for a series of revealing questions. As the lie detector test continued, the conversation shifted to more personal matters, highlighting the intense sibling rivalry between Jake and Logan. They debated who their father preferred, with Jake confidently claiming he was the favorite. But when the conversation returned to the subject of the fight, Jake's bravado began to waver. Logan asked Jake if the age difference between him and Tyson would play a significant role in the fight. Jake admitted that Tyson was a killer at any age, showing a rare moment of honesty. This admission hinted at Jake's underlying respect and perhaps fear of Tyson's enduring power and experience. The conversation took an even more surprising turn when Logan asked Jake if the fight was rigged. Jake firmly denied this, stating it would be a federal crime. This response, while serious, did little to dispel the tension in the room. The lie detector test revealed Jake's true feelings, and for the first time, viewers saw a more vulnerable side of the usually confident young boxer. The climax of the conversation came when Logan pressed Jake on his use of performance-enhancing drugs. Jake, ever the joker, quipped that taking Viagra counts. When pressed for a serious answer, he finally said no. This humorous yet tense exchange highlighted the high stakes of the upcoming fight and Jake's attempts to maintain his bravado.
With Jake?
Yeah, we do now. But it's not always been like that.
It's always been, yeah, I can imagine.
This is my brother.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. Taylor Tyson, we got it. Yeah, right? Who you got? When is that gonna be?
November. It got rescheduled.
Well, look, Mike was fantastic, but, you know, Mike's a little older now.
Yeah.
And you guys can fight.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that, but you guys can really fight, legitimately fight.
Thank you, sir.
At first I said, it's so amazing because I always thought like a UFC guy or a top, even contender would be able to win at 75 years old.
You think?
But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
The clock is still the clock.
Yeah.
Despite his bravado, Jake's final words about the fight revealed a rare vulnerability. When asked if he really thought he could beat Mike Tyson, Jake's nervous admission of uncertainty spoke volumes. He acknowledged that it's going to be tough and that he's nervous about the fight. Jake Paul, who has built his brand on confidence and bravado, is now facing the reality of stepping into the ring with a legend. His nervousness and uncertainty are a stark contrast to his usual cocky demeanor. And let's be honest, who wouldn't be nervous? We're talking about Mike Tyson, a man whose name is synonymous with power and fear in the boxing world. Jake's dreaming if he thinks he's got this in the bag. But hey, dreams are what keep us going, right? And Jake Paul is certainly dreaming big, maybe too big. The boxing world is watching and the reactions from professionals have been mixed, to say the least.
Evander
What do you mean?
Holyfield is coming back now,
What?
too. Yes. Have you seen the Mike Tyson
He's
video?
like 65.
Mike Tyson's coming back.
What?
Yes. You haven't seen? Dude.
No.
Okay. Go to Mike Tyson's page for his most recent video on his Instagram. Get ready for this.
Oh, really?
Get ready for this, because he looks sensational.
What is he, 55?
53.
53.
I think.
Yeah.
I think he's a year older than I am. I'm 52. But he looks incredible.
Really?
Terrifying. Dude,
He was so terrible. Was
wait
there
till you see
anything more
this.
exciting than his fights?
They were a cultural event.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean,
so exciting.
the only concern was that you were going to spend money and you weren't going to get it back. Look at this.
Right.
You needed volume so you can hear this too.
Whoa.
I mean, what in the
Oh,
dude?
my God.
Dude, he looks like old. I'm back.
I'm back.
You know what's really funny?
Oh, my
He
God.
said on the podcast when he was in here, he said he didn't want to work out again because his ego would get fired up again.
Uh-huh.
And he's actually said that in his post that my ego had been reignited.
Does that mean his
Yeah.
rage?
No, see if you can find it.
That his ego would be.
There's he
Because
said
he's like being zen and doesn't want
yeah,
to.
he gave a statement about it saying that like his ego has been reignited.
Good for him.
Yeah. Oh,
Good for us.
He said something about how the gods of war have brought him out again. It was like really heavy duty
Jeez.
shit. I think it's real recent. Like,
Wow.
see if you can find the quote, but it was like, oh my god.
When you were with
those
him-
gods of war have reignited my ego,
Oh, my God.
and I'm ready to go again. Yeah,
Jeez.
he's gonna fight.
How do you think he'd fare against a
I think
28-year-old?
I don't know. It depends on the 28-year-old, but I think that you for sure need a guy who's really good at fighting to keep him off you.
Yeah.
Even if you're in your 20s.
Right.
Here, Mike Tyson explains his desire to fight again. I feel unstoppable now. The gods of war have reawakened me. And he said something about his ego firing up. See if you can find that quote.
He was
that was
so
one of the things
deadly.
that he actually talked about in the podcast. The gods of war have awakened me. They've reignited my ego and want me to go to war again. If they don't drug test him, they don't test him for hormones. Things are way different.
What do you mean?
Because if he takes hormones, if he's taking
Right.
testosterone and growth hormone, thyroid hormone, all the things that people do when they take hormone replacement
Right.
therapy, your body functions way better at a way later age. It's different. It's very
Right.
different. So if we're talking about like being a 53-year-old man in 1985, there's no chance.
Right.
Everybody fell apart. Like you'd have
Yeah.
to like be a really, really, really rare person who doesn't take hormones and can perform like a 30-year-old when you're
Right.
in your 50s. But when you're on hormones, you can kind of do it.
Boxing professionals and analysts have weighed in, with many highlighting Tyson's enduring power and experience. Some have even chuckled at Jake's confidence, noting that facing Tyson is no small feat. Joe Rogan himself commented on the intensity of the upcoming fight, noting that Jake is in for the fight of his life. So as we approach the date of the fight, the question remains, can Jake Paul, with all his youthful confidence and bravado, really stand up to the legendary Mike Tyson? Or is he simply dreaming? One thing is for sure, this fight is set to be an unforgettable clash of generations. Will Jake's dreams come true, or will Tyson show that age is just a number when it comes to true power and experience? Stay tuned, because this is one fight you won't want to miss. Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson, A Battle of Dreams vs. Reality. After the news of Jake Paul's knockout and sparring broke, Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson had a lot to say on his podcast. Joe Rogan didn't hold back. He probably started by analyzing the sparring session, talking about what Jake did wrong and why he got knocked out. Rogan is known for his detailed commentary, and you can imagine him getting into the nitty-gritty of Jake's technique or lack thereof. Joe's got this way of making everything sound dramatic and intense. He might have painted a vivid picture of Jake stepping into the ring, maybe a little too cocky, and then bam, he gets caught with a punch he didn't see coming. Rogan likely emphasized how sparring is different from real fights because it's about learning and improving, not necessarily winning, but getting knocked out, that's a serious wake-up call. Then Mike Tyson joined in. Tyson's got this no-nonsense attitude. He's been the youngest heavyweight champion and knows the sport inside out. He probably said something like, Jake's got some talent, but he's still a novice in this game. Tyson's words carry weight because he's been there. He knows what it's like to train hard, get knocked down, and get back up.
I don't see Jake doing much against Mike.
I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one to stop me. The conqueror, no, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. There's no one that can match me.
For him, seeing someone like Jake Paul, who's relatively new to boxing, get knocked out in sparring is a reminder that boxing isn't a game, it's a brutal, unforgiving sport. The two of them, Rogan and Tyson, probably had a good laugh about some of Jake's antics too. Jake is known for his bravado, always talking a big game. They might have found it amusing that despite all his talk, he still has a lot to learn.
He sends me this text message. He goes, dude, check this out. And it's you. And I remember looking at it and going, oh, what happened? What happened?
Hey, let's talk about that too. My brother-in-law said, hey, Mike, man, I know you're not going to win, but somebody said, would you fight this guy for like 40 million or 30 million?
And you rip into the body and throwing those hooks. I was like, this is a man who's preparing to go to combat.
That was 30 seconds.
A number of people say when they talk about this fight, if Mike Tyson doesn't get Jake Paul early and get him out of there early, there's no way he can go all 8 rounds and win this fight. What do you say to that? It's hard to even really he's not going to win. Look at, he can't even knock out Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is 40 pounds lighter. How is he going to knock me out? What's the other guy, Anderson Silva? He didn't knock out those little guys. How is he going to knock me out? Majority of your fights, we've certainly seen the power on display. Who did he knock out? Who did he knock out? Little children. He didn't knock out a real man. Come on. He's questioning your power, Jake. He's saying you haven't knocked out a legitimate fighter of his ilk. He didn't knock out Tommy Fury. Rogan could have pointed out how Jake's overconfidence can be his biggest weakness. Meanwhile, Tyson, with his old school wisdom, might have talked about the importance of humility and respect in the sport. This whole scenario is fascinating because it brings together 3 very different personalities. Joe Rogan is like the wise sage who knows everything about fighting. He's seen countless fighters rise and fall and can break down a fight in the most engaging way. Mike Tyson is the veteran, the guy who's been at the top and has the scars to prove it. And then there's Jake Paul, the young upstart trying to make a name for himself. Jake Paul's fans might be upset seeing him get roasted by these legends, but it's all part of the game. Every fighter, no matter how good, has their off days. Getting knocked out in sparring isn't the end of the world. In fact, it might be just what Jake needs to get serious about his training. It's a sign that you have to be humble and work harder. How old is Mike Tyson? He's 57, turning 58 by the time the fight is going to happen. He'd be 58. He's 58 years old. I don't know his health history is, I guess you can say. And I think the biggest thing is you have someone who's 58 years old trying to push his body to the absolute limit, moving. And I don't know if he's sparring or anything like that. And I love Jake Paul. I just think I would like to see Jake Paul fight. There's so many __ boxers out there that he can fight and build his record with. And I understand Mike Tyson is a big name and Netflix wants to do it, but I don't think they should revisit it. I think there's plenty of guys out there that Jake Paul can fight. KSI is one of them. He can fight T. Wood again. He can fight Mike Perry, Platinum. He can fight Jay Master. There's so many guys. He can fight Anthony Pettis. There's so many guys who are younger than Mike Tyson and a little bit older than him that he can beat that have a big name. But I just think him fighting Mike Tyson, the guy, he's 58. I don't want to see Mike Tyson get hurt. And for what, right? I mean, that's just my personal opinion, and it's nothing against Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. It's like, there's no reason why him fighting a 58-year-old. Like, I'm sure we can find something. I'm sure Eddie Hearn could find something for Jake Paul to fight. Like, this is the stupidest __ thing that's happened right now. Like, you tell me there's literally nobody out there that can fight Jake Paul that's his age that has an 8-0 record as a boxer? Sparring is supposed to be a training exercise, a way to practice without going all out, but sometimes things get heated, and, well, Jake found himself on the receiving end of a knockout punch. This is where Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson come in. These two are legends in their own right. Joe Rogan, with his massive podcast and deep knowledge of MMA, is like the guru of fight commentary. Maybe this experience will humble him a bit and make him work even harder. From a broader perspective, this whole incident is a reminder of how unpredictable and exciting the world of combat sports can be. You've got this mix of personalities, each bringing something unique to the table. It's these interactions that keep fans engaged and eager for more. Whether you love Jake Paul or can't stand him, you've got to admit he's always in the spotlight. And having Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson clown him only adds to the spectacle. Let's also consider what this means for Jake's future in boxing. He's got potential, no doubt about it. He's shown that he can win fights, but he's also shown that he's still got a lot to learn. Getting knocked out in sparring is a setback, but it's also an opportunity. If Jake can take this experience, learn from it, and come back stronger, it could be a turning point in his career. On the other hand, if he lets it get to his head, it could be the beginning of the end. For Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson, this is just another day in the world of fighting. They've seen fighters rise and fall, and they know that one knockout, whether in sparring or a real fight, doesn't define a career. They might clown Jake for now, but they also understand the ups and downs of the sport. They've both been through their own struggles and have come out stronger on the other side. In the end, this whole episode is a mix of humor, drama, and a bit of tough love. It's a reminder that the road to becoming a great fighter is filled with challenges and setbacks, and sometimes getting clowned by legends like Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson is just part of the journey. Whether Jake Paul will take this in stride and use it to improve or let it derail his progress remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be entertaining to watch. So what do you think about all this? Do you see Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson's comments as harsh criticism or valuable advice? And do you think Jake Paul has what it takes to bounce back and prove himself as a serious contender in the boxing world? Whatever your thoughts, it's moments like these that keep the world of combat sports so captivating. Let's grab some popcorn and see what happens next.